Superversive Livestream. I am your host, Benjamin Wheeler, and I'm here with my co host, Anthony Marquetta. And we're playing Root with some people. Uh, but really, I'm just going to talk, I don't know,
I like the way you put that. With some folks,
with some folks.
some silly little guys.
Listen, I something happened last night during the St. Patty's Day festivities of drunken Irish reveling by Anglos, not Irish, and whatever medley lives in the bowels of St. Louis. A girl kissed me. I'm no longer an incel, unlike the rest of you chuds.
Wait, is this real? I
Especially
can't
Anthony.
tell.
It's real. It was great. She just went up and was like, "I need to kiss you, and here's $20." And I'm like, "Yep, that's the price for a kiss. Let's do it."
Cool. So, do you got? Is this a potential foid or what?
Nope. It's just some rando.
Ah, now you're like, I don't know what it would be. It wouldn't be a slut because that's women. Uh,
It's a whore, Anthony. I'm a whore for $20 and kissing.
yeah. Now you've made it. You took something cool and made it lame.
That's right. But I'm no longer an incel, unlike you, Anthony.
Unlike me, yes. So my
right,
wife is the vagabond.
right. No. So there's something that went around recently that I thought was very interesting, and that's could, there we go. Turn off those. Turn down the sound a lot. And that's rhetoric and dialectic came up quite a bit in what people were talking about and arguing about online. Namely, there's good rhetoric and there's bad rhetoric, and there's good dialectic and bad dialectic. Me calling myself a whore for $20 kissing booth stuff is not really true. Is not really accurate. It's at best a joke. It's a
Isn't
little
it
bit
that?
of shut up.
Yes.
You know,
Uh,
listen. All right. When you've been down in
I'm
the
sorry. I'm
incel
sorry.
mines and you haven't been touched in years, some random drunk girl is like a fresh spring water that you immediately rub the area she touched to clean it from the filth. But it's nice if you don't think about it, which is just like good rhetoric. Good rhetoric is nice if you don't think about it.
Nice. Wow, what a
Uh,
connection.
yeah, you're welcome. See that? That's what people come back here for.
Yes.
Uh, so one of the big thing that people bring up when it comes to rhetoric, especially in our circles, is the white rhetoric. It's okay to be white. Save the white race and stuff like that. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because there's some people who are pro identitarian politics. Oh, it's my turn. Uh, and some people, I just realized I have no idea what I'm doing.
So what you need to in advanced setup, you get 2 extra cards than you need, and you get to pick any 2 to return to the deck.
Yeah,
This kind of helps balance hands at the beginning so that nobody is just like out of the game immediately. Yeah.
sure, we'll do that.
That's the theory behind it. And the cat doesn't need to set their keep up in a corner, which they normally do, which can be a really big buff to the cat. Uh,
Yeah,
I get to pick a corner to set up as Lord of the Hundreds. I really wish I messed up. I should have named my character Ratilla the Hun.
Anyway, so it's a pretty strong rhetorical tool. They're out to kill the white race, which they are, but it's a little bit more complex than that. It's the same way that like something like saying something is black or colored or brown or the Izot idea. That's good rhetoric, just like the whole I think. And in total, identitarianism in general is actually really good rhetoric. Collectivism is good rhetoric. If you don't like atheism, even has some decent rhetoric until you get deeper than the skin. right? Like an atheist saying, "What has God ever done for me?" My daddy beat me or whatever is a rhetorical argument. It's an idea that he's promoting that has like a short, sweet, a man is a feather biped kind of thing. Um, no, it's behold a man, and Diogenes just throws a chicken at Plato. Uh, I assume Plato ate the chicken because he needed the protein. Uh, the the rhetorical flourishes, however, require a bigger argument. Because it was a Greek philosopher argument, surely people had some deep conversations with many different explanations about what is the shortest way to describe what a man is. With its complete setting. So Diogenes plucking a chicken and then throwing it at them is another rhetorical argument, but it's not as useful in a deeper and longer conversation because one, he'd have to explain what is necessarily relevant, not relevant, uh, evident, namely that this is a dead plucked bird and it's got two legs. Like you can't really make a good argument about it. He is specifically refuting the point in the shortest term possible, even as they're trying to describe a man in the shortest term possible. To describe what's happening in Europe and to the people around us, to all the different things of the world, a short description is they are, uh, attacking the white race. They're murdering whites or whatever it is just because they're white. We saw some of that stuff with like uh, Aradia getting stabbed.
Mhm.
A lot of the rhetoric around Charlie Kirk. It's as much politics as it is actual description and arguments. So what happens though is that when you take something like "It's okay to be white" and bring it into the dialectic sphere, what does it mean to be white? It's harder to describe that. There was a recent political thing where I think it was a senator or something. He was asked to describe, "Hey, what's white? What's the culture?" uh, and he said some things. Now, for someone like me, it's a lot easier because I actually study it a little bit. Well, it's food cultures, it's this, it's that. Okay, so what does that make it different than say black culture? Okay, well, there's some things, blah blah blah, food, how manner of dress. You return the shopping cart, but is returning the shopping cart an actual part of culture? Right? Is there the return of the shopping cart festival where we run around the maypole with our shopping carts and then put the shopping carts away? No, we don't do that. We don't do that at all. In fact, it's completely um, not a thing we talk about. Then it comes down to deeper grades. Okay, I'm Anglo, I'm Anglo German American. Anthony is of an Italian extraction. And inshallah, he will someday be an American. But no, but there's like different cultures, right? I made some jokes about him being an incel, even though he's married and it's common knowledge that he's married. If you're following the show, obviously he's not an incel. He's a good Catholic man. Uh, I look in the mirror and I just punch it. Uh, and then I post an edgy Facebook comment. Um, But like if you were to look at an Anglo wedding and an Italian wedding, you would see things that are completely different. Uh, Gift culture, gift expectations, how everything. Sure, continue. Uh,
Do 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 do.
let me just
I'm
see what
engaging with
I.
a bit of table talk in the chat, so
Yeah, let's see. Sure, that might be bad. Let's do that. Let's do that. Oh, I got a point. Choose an action.
You can't revolt yet, or you would have. So, which isn't the worst thing in the world. Woodland Alliance is an insurgent faction.
Yeah. Sure.
There we go. All right.
All right. So
Giving
it's
a little
also
tip to my cat-loving friends.
yeah. Anyway,
And maybe making it less ideal to attack me. So, Lord of the Hundreds works. I need to oppress a clearing to get victory points. By oppress, that means all enemy pieces are destroyed or gone, right? So if there is even one piece, even if I control the clearing, and that includes sympathy tokens, by the way. So if you spread sympathy, I no longer oppress the clearing. Then I don't get a victory point for that clearing. So that one cat token is blocking a victory point from me.
I gotcha.
I love Lore of the Hundreds. I love the concept of it. It's so much fun. Your warlord has different moods each turn, and it changes how he does things. So you're literally being led by a capricious warlord that spreads mobs and whose goal is to oppress the woodland. It's great.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Let's stay a little bit more on the main topic of rhetoric versus dialect. So
Right.
the thing about it's okay to be white is that it evolved in response to black rhetoric, right?
Yes.
Now, the thing about black rhetoric is that if you think about it for like 2 seconds, it doesn't make any sense, right? Like
Right.
and what I mean is it makes us, or let me put it another way. If you think about it for 2 seconds, it makes as much sense as white rhetoric, right?
Yes.
Africa is a continent, not a country. If you go to Africa, they are constantly at war with each other. The many different tribes of Africa very much do not consider themselves all one people and would be insulted if you did.
Yep. And they don't much care for what we call African Americans, uh,
Correct.
which you might. I pressed the button.
Huh.
Anyway, so it's like even if you would, what's the word I want? Even if you would want to unite them, in the end, it only unites as long as there's grift and money, which is one of the things that has been kept keeping the left's coalition together. The argument that all Black Lives Matter is a very strong rhetorical point, and it even has some dialectic significance. But the thing is, when you say White Lives Matter, it only has as much power as there is behind the people saying it to give it. When in actuality, while white lives do matter, it's not like I'm counter signaling this. To be clear, uh, the idea that it holds the same weight is patently ridiculous. You have a whole industry behind and billions of tax dollars behind Black Lives Matter. So the rhetoric becomes more powerful by things outside its control. Also, it stands up to dialectic a bit stronger because people have spent a very huge amount of time studying it to unite it into one piece, where they could talk about slave culture, or they could talk about hip hop, or they could talk about African issues and colonization, which don't really have analogs except in the antagonistic in white history and culture. So, the opposite number is, of course, studying things like the Roman Empire, the greatness of Rome, the greatness of the Christian kingdoms. But at the same time, that doesn't really hold the same rhetorical weight. One, because of autism, and two, because of how the media presents it. It's the reason why things like the Deus Vult meme got so strong, why the Christ is King meme is so strong. But actually, we've moved off White Lives Matter and onto Christian dominance. Excuse me, it's my
Yeah.
turn again.
Yeah, White Lives Matter. So when that was big in the media, as it was for like a year, it was good rhetoric, and you could tell because it made people extremely angry, but for them to explain why would require them to use dialectic. And as soon as they use dialectic and enter the realm of dialectic, you destroy Black Lives Matter, right? Because the whole thing runs off the same logic. It doesn't make any sense, So what do you do with that, right? It's not an easy question to answer, to be honest with you. Like, what do you do with that?
Right.
So the answer was like it would end up they would need to make a Marxist argument. So the argument would be something like, well, the reason that we could say Black Lives Matter but not White Lives Matter because Black lives are the ones that are suffering right now. White lives are doing fine. Black lives are being oppressed. But once again, the issue with this move is you have entered the world of dialectic, right? And because now you're making an argument from empirical things, and you have to because we're going like, well, white lives matter. No, that doesn't work. Why is it bad rhetoric? And you need to explain why it's bad rhetoric, right? So that's no longer rhetoric. You're arguing against the rhetoric explicitly. Now, once you're in the realm of dialectic, the whole argument falls apart because blacks are not oppressed in any way, in any sense of the word. There is no systemic racism. The last time that there was anything like systemic racism was probably the late 90s in certain areas.
Not even.
Like, yeah, I'm trying to be a little bit generous. Like, by systemic, what I mean is there are people entrenched in the system who are racist enough, right? Like and literally by this I mean I Vox Day will be like, no, racism is not a sin, whatever. Shut up. We're just trying to. I'm trying to use like equally comprehensible language here.
Right.
Like what I mean is they hate people who are entrenched in systems who just hate black people and are going to like try and rule against them, even though just because they're black. Probably the last of that old guard died out in the 90s at latest, and that's being optimistic, right? Nowadays there just is no systemic racism. At best you will have, oh yeah, my mob procced. I forgot that was a thing. Yes. If my mob procs, I get items in the clearing. It's great. If you don't destroy the mob.
Sure.
In charity, I should probably tell my brother this, who, by the way, for people listening, is playing the cats, because he probably doesn't know. It's his first time playing the War of the Hundreds. Yeah. So my mobs.
Once you actually have to talk about it, it enters the realm of the dialectic, which again, like whites tend to just kind of devolve into anyway. So like I can't go White Lives Matter and then form a mob. It's just not going to happen. Like, and I've seen examples of this stuff happening, and in some places like Ireland and Scotland, which still have like family connective tissue, like they're able to pull it off because they have something connecting them that isn't just a vague creed. They have families and they have clans and they have culture in a way that just doesn't really connect people up in America or Canada. When the Canadians had their trucker protest, it brought the country almost to its knees, but it fell apart in infighting pretty much immediately, both because no one had OPSEC and no one could trust each other, but also because there wasn't any true uniting factor except hatred of the government, which is not the same at all as having a agenda. Hatred of the government for specific tax policies and stuff that were deleterious for the people to have. So it's hard to unite around that, right? Like it's easy when you have family and a manse and domain and soldiers who can be paid to join you, some of whom might even be loyal to the death, but is not necessarily true of all soldierly groups. So it's like with mercenary companies, right? Timoleon invaded Sicily, and he happened to have some mercenaries, and he happened to have some Corinthian hoplite soldiers, best in the world, fresh from the many different wars, and ready to try something new. Which ones do you think betrayed him? It was the mercenaries. He fought a huge battle against a Carthaginian force of a mercenary army. It was like a 10 times difference if the stories are to be believed. In reality, it was probably something like just a mere 5 times difference. But it was enough to make the mercenaries betray him and leave. They didn't fight him, they just left. Uh, so it's like and so mercenaries are never going to fight as hard for you, right? So why then did they even become mercenaries? Well, because of the wealth, because of the opportunity for money, because of the rhetoric of adventure, sure. But in the end, someone's coin purse is going to get, excuse me, very fat, and you're not likely to actually die as much as you think you are, as much as you think they would. So it's like I lost track of my argument for once. I've got a cold, and this is what it takes. This is what it takes to bring me down. But what I'm saying is that these loyalties between people are more than just some sort of like we have to do it, guys, blood and soil. Like what is like I love St. Louis. I specifically live in America when I can move to other countries. I can do it. I'm an international man, but at the same time, it's like if I try to do something with St. Louis, like what's there to do? It's 15 different neighborhoods with completely different cultures. Uh, I think Caitlin's angry at me. She killed my dude. Uh,
Yes.
he was just a fox. He was just a fox, and he was nowhere near a hen house. A fox oppression. All foxes' lives matter. The
Sympathy has been added to the Woodland Alliance.
uh, but it's like that, right? Like I go to Ferguson. Oh well, that's actually black. There's almost no whites. The whites who are there are almost certainly drug addled or degenerate or poor, bad poor. Uh,
Bad.
the what do you want? Uh,
Not the cool type of poor.
right, not the honorable poor.
Not the fun poor. Ah, fuck. How I wonder how bad that's going to be for me. Okay. Yeah, look, there was an interesting it's funny you say this. There's a really interesting moment in so Matt Walsh made the thing like am I racist as a follow-up to what is a woman? Now, I understand that we're like, oh, we don't trust the Daily Wire, and we don't cuz Ben Shapiro is scum. Uh yeah, he's a horrible person. With that said, they are at least making things that the left won't. And Am I Racist is an entertaining movie. Mostly what it does is expose the grift. But one of the interesting things was hearing the critical drinker's reaction to it. And this is what I mean. The critical drinker, when he was discussing the movie, one of his criticisms was, they didn't really touch on any of like the real race. Like, they seem to act like it wasn't a problem at all anymore. They didn't touch on any of the real racism, right? Like, which is odd. This is according to the drinker. Now, that's an interesting comment for a few reasons, but to me, what's so interesting about that is that the drinker genuinely couldn't believe that Walsh was simply telling the truth. There isn't any. Like the type of thing that he's looking for of like, no, there really are groups of people in the South, in wherever, who just hate black people straight up, and you will find them if you look and they're out there and they're in the police or whatever. And it's like, I understand it's being exaggerated and there's a grift, but maybe he could show that. No, it's actually much worse than that. There isn't any. It's not real, right? Like they just don't exist. Now, that doesn't mean there's no isolated people
Yep.
who don't exist who hate black. Like, of course there are, but there are isolated people who fucking who hate everyone, right? Like, it is no longer an issue, right? Like, it simply is not. It's not an issue. It's not been an issue in decades, right? And Walsh was exactly correct.
Yep. And it's like even things like Rodney
There we go.
King were later proven to be justified. Uh,
Hmm.
he acted in certain ways, and they took some force to him. In the same
Ladies
way
and
with George
gentlemen, we need
Floyd.
to go cat hunting, by the way. They're getting a little too big for their britches.
I'm trying. Problem is that I'm bordered by a 4 and a 7,
You
uh,
are.
and he keeps murdering my guys. My poor defenseless Marxist communists. Don't you know each one of those was trans or at least bisexual?
Yes.
Anyway,
It looks like I'm going to be in a race with the cats to.
last time I played Cats, I actually kind of stalled out at the top. It was weird, but like you take these ideas, right? And so it looks bad. A black man is being beaten on the streets of LA. But then you look at it and he was like he was a career criminal, he might have been on drugs, blah 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 blah. I keep clicking on outrage and I have no idea what it does. The It just shows me
Outrage
a
adds
card.
supporters to your supporter stack, which allows you to spread sympathy.
I gotcha. Anyway,
That's the reason I like the Woodland Alliance so much. It feels like even when people are trying to stop you, you're making progress,
oh,
uh,
yeah.
which is fun, in my opinion.
With with that, but then it's like, you look deeper at it, right? The dialectic destroys the rhetoric, but it's a far less fun thing than the dialectic. I'm sorry, the rhetoric, right? It's media can't overcome it.
I'm
The
gonna do
best.
something really stupid.
I'm just watching you beat on the cats. Good work.
Fuck.
Uh,
Okay, that did not work, and I've lost my warlord. That's okay. I get him back next turn. I have a lot of strongholds, so it's fine. It's cool. It's fine.
it's fine, it's fine.
Uh,
Uh, what am I
I mean,
thinking?
honestly, I'm keeping up. I'm doing okay, but we gotta. The cats are gonna like explode for points every turn until you destroy their stuff, man.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm gonna be working on it. I'll work on it. Just don't attack
hey,
my
hey,
wood.
Vagabond,
What?
go cat hunting.
Uh,
There are 2 cats in that region. You have
Kill a cat, save a fox.
you have a sword.
That's the rhetoric. That's the posters we're putting up. Uh,
Move back to that region with the 2 cats and attack it.
like with propaganda, of course, like the HUD of World War I and II, or the degenerates of same eras and stuff like that. It's good rhetoric, but then like you look at it and you have to kind of take a nuanced view on it. It's the same way with things like the Jews rule the world or whatever. You know, Herschel, who runs a deli in St. Louis, is not going to Davos and whispering into the ear of the world government or whatever. He's not going to the Antichrist with a special sandwich that also has the Death Star plans, right? Like that.
Yes.
That's like that dialectic. Sort of kills that thing, but like actually dialectic reinforces it, because then you go, okay, all the banks are not all the banks, but a significant number of the banks are led, blah 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 blah. The stuff we've heard for years. If you don't know it by now, I don't know where you've been. Are you 12? Don't be here. You were too. Go read Redwall or something if you want some real politics.
Yes.
All right. Spread sympathy. I want to spread sympathy where there's nothing there, but I guess I'll spread sympathy here.
No, that's good because even if he destroys your sympathy token, you get more sympathy. You get more supporters that you could use to spread sympathy again. So you're cool. You're fine.
I'm fine. I'm cool. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
I can't move though.
Unfortunately, you're kind of stuck in a corner, which
Yeah.
this is a big issue.
Well, it's like, do I attack you and lose what I have, or do I just let you stick there, and then maybe we start beating on what's his name together?
We kind of need to take out the cats.
We do. I couldn't move, by the way.
They're a little scary.
Anyway, the these miscommunications with it just sort of fall apart. Dialectically, Anti-identitarianism is good. Sorry, is yes, is good because you're explaining what you mean. White Lives Matter doesn't work, or American Lives Matter or MAGA doesn't work if white people are experiencing Trump derangement syndrome, right? If some authors are going, I'm an American, but in reality they immigrated here, when they were teenagers or whatever, and still retain some of that national pride, and are interacting with other people of the same descendants.
Ha!
Uh,
We forgot about guerrilla warfare.
what?
Woodland
Anyway,
Alliance ability means that they get the higher roll on defense,
uh,
which makes them extremely hard to kill.
yep.
So he
So
just like completely
he wiped out 4 guys. It looks like,
yes,
or
and ah ha ha ha. My mob
no,
procced.
things are happening. Uh,
Hmm.
anyway,
Where do I want my warrior?
so it comes down to, okay. So what about uh? Oh, so what about that sort of thing. Well, this author attacked Vox Day over some words he said, which were probably impolitic to say, uh, but it turned a mess out of some movements which were doing some good things. So rather than working together, the second that ethnic tension flared up, even lightly, or someone made a comment, true or not, that was impolitic, the coalition fell apart. And that's the sort of thing that happens. But the thing with like, say, Black Lives Matter is that even up until recently, and still from like sources like George Soros, there's millions of dollars coming in. So who cares if it's not quite right? The thing that actually, Caitlin, if you can hear me, we're getting our lunch eaten by the cat and the rat. So we have to kneecap both of them, even as they kneecap us.
Okay.
What? No.
Yes. So it's hard to overcome that, right? The handicap is the fact that they have a ton of money. That shows me the same card every time. The
That's not bad. Like, you gotta understand Woodland Alliance. You just want more sympathy. You'll be able to find a place for it.
yeah,
You're really not in the worst position I've ever seen, but you're not in the best either.
sure.
I'm a mere bean in last place. So
She's like, I'm just a harmless little bean. I don't know.
So it hurts the ability to act. Both the idea of impolitic discussions and things like uh, just the ethnic connections flaring up. And there's no balm like, say, piles and piles of embezzleable money to calm people down. A lot of the reason why, say, the Somalis are so united, well, like, okay, no, this is a good example. So Minneapolis plays up the diversity quite a bit. But the thing is that recently, Jacob Frey won the mayoral election because he went to one tribe of Somalians and said, look, the whatever tribe of Somalis who also live in the same city are going to vote for my rival, this. If you vote for me, I will give your tribe specific benefits, and I won't give any benefits to this tribe. Not that he said it like that, and this is what I'm assuming he said because of how they acted. So then, with things like uh, Jacob Frey's actions, he got elected. So, in other words, he used good rhetoric, but he also understood his situation deeper than some other Black Lives Matter types who just embezzled money and said whatever, protested. It's I see that heart. You're an agent. I get it. So it hurts. It just hurts. The whole thing creates an inability to.
My warlord survives. My warlords can survive revolts.
That's fine.
So that's nice. But you did just cripple the vagabond. But
Yeah,
you didn't have
big
much of a
time.
you didn't have much of a choice though.
Big time.
Yeah.
I am gonna have to slip into the woods next turn and
What am I
be
doing?
craft.
Oh, spread sympathy. Yeah. Oh, spread some more sympathy. Don't you, mouse workers of the world unite. Choose an action.
You're doing a good job at least slowing some of the cats down.
Yeah.
I think. I'm hoping. They do have a big cat ball of 10 cats, but and that's a little scary.
A fur ball, if you will.
Yes. I have to waste a turn and recraft. Thank you for that. You didn't have much of a choice though. You needed to revolt if you wanted to stay in this game. And you are in the game. You're like only like you're at 8 points.
Yeah.
Cat's only 3 ahead. I'm less than 10 ahead. Like you're very with the burst scoring of the Woodland Alliance, you're not out of it.
Yeah. All right, let's give it a shot. Woo.
I'm watching this with interest. Let us say.
There we go.
Oh dear. I don't like that. Don't like it.
That's too bad. That's too bad entirely. So to focus in on another thing, because I do want to
really crippled the cats here. Okay.
Yeah. Because I do want to kind of talk about a brouhaha that came up around Bronze Age Pervert. Milo weighed in. They insulted each other.
That sounds about right.
Yep.
I blocked Milo after he posted an Arab prayer to the Ayatollah.
Yeah, that was a little. I don't know.
I got no interest in it.
Yeah.
Wow, knowing my brother, he has got to be seething right now at the series of bad luck. Okay. He did get you though, so yeah.
He did. I just ambushed him.
You just screwed him over slightly while in the process. Okay.
But part of it is that Bat pointed out.
Amazingly, my warlord is still alive. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. Is that Bat pointed out that identitarian just doesn't work as rhetoric. It doesn't work for the right. It doesn't work for the whites, just because we're not able to put aside the different things that we've got. And I'm being very summarizing with the different things that can happen. People thought it was a bad thing because he was attacking the Restore Britain movement, which is probably the best chance for Britain by appearances right now for change to happen. It mobilized the center to move towards Farage because he kicked out Rupert Lowe and the more extreme right-wing faction in his party. And the thing is that people don't seem to realize is that that Nigel Farage is not going to have a coalition with the left. They hate him. They hate his guts. It would not be a coalition that could do anything in the next few minutes. You know what I mean? Like it would be completely different opposite sides. The extreme far left is never going to unite with any sort of right wing, even if it's tepid, party. So Nigel Farage is just going to have a coalition with Rupert Lowe, like because they have a parliament system, and instead of our government bipartisanship, even though it looks bipartisan. So with that, like some of the moves start making sense. But the thing is that the basis of Rupert Lowe's success is not going to be things like, white identitarian politics. It just can't. It doesn't work in England. If it worked in England, it would have worked, quite frankly, some years ago. It would have worked. It would have worked when the Muslim rape gangs were revealed to the population. That's like little white girls getting raped is a slam dunk in any sort of propaganda war. It worked on the Native Americans. It worked on the fighting the Native Americans. It worked on just about every single event that happened to happen. uh, you know, it was immediate war. It was immediate, like we are going to kill all of you motherfuckers. But it didn't happen like that, right? So there's a certain amount of stuff just being stuck in the wheels of the uh, stuck in the wheels of possible change. That no amount of rhetoric is really going to be able to push out of the circle, right? You have all these different things, and if something were to have happened, it should have already happened. And every time it doesn't happen, whatever's going to happen is going to get worse because the rhetoric starts moving from they have to remigrate, which is where they are now, which was unthinkable 10 years ago in 2016. Totally unthinkable about immigrant remigration. Uh, but now we're at that as a foundation for political means. But what happens after remigration, right? Like they didn't integrate, which is before remigration. They didn't bring benefits and become British, which is the one before integration, as weird as it says. Keeping the culture but being mostly British versus being totally indistinguishably British. We're at remigration. They have to go back. At least certainly the illegals, but the more extreme elements are saying everyone. The next one's genocide. Like it's just kill everyone who isn't us. Get them out of here at all costs, including what we would call war crimes, sins, things that might actually offend God. Because sending someone back on an airliner isn't going to cause God to like it's not a sin, right? Where's the sin? You're stealing from them. Yeah, well they got all their goods by stealing from the government and the people anyway. That's not God doesn't talk about that. Well, they're being forcibly moved. Okay, well, God doesn't talk about that as a sin either. Like it's one of those things where it's like the moral compunction hits remigration very well. There's nothing negative to it. In fact, the Bible's very clear that having foreigners rule over you is uh, a curse from God. So in other words, it just doesn't, it doesn't work out the way they think it does. For moralization against this sort of thing. It's why the ICE protests and the protests against remigration have been total failures in the real sense. Their martyrs never became martyrs in the same way that Arenia and Charlie Kirk is for the right. Excuse me. Okay, that's what I got. Looks sorry, man. So,
Oof.
oh,
yes.
Bad roll.
Yes.
Why are you
Anyway.
rooting for him? You're not gonna win. Whatever. It's fine. It's
I didn't
fine.
even get any victory points out of that. Uh, so
You didn't get any victory points, so you didn't destroy any buildings. I'm actually going to get men back in there next turn.
dang it.
So you only get victory points for destroying buildings.
Well, the only thing I could do was attack you or spread sympathy, and I just couldn't do that.
Damn, I was
Anyway,
kind of hoping that the cat would try and waste its time killing my warlord and would leave the mob so that it would destroy his buildings. Oh well. You can't always get what you want.
can't do it.
So I'm sorry, keep going.
Yeah. So, it's like then it comes down to, okay, so what's the next step? If they don't leave, we're going to kill them. Like, that's the next rhetorical tick from remigration. I don't, if there is one in between, remigration and killing, I don't know it. It's one of those things. It's tried and true from history. That joke where it's like, violence has never solved anything. And then you read the history books. Flip,
Yeah,
flip,
flip through
flip,
history
flip.
books.
Oh no, oh no. It's a very true thing. It's a joke, but it's true. So it's like that, right? That's it. That's the last bit. But the thing is that does it draw its power from identitarian politics? White lives matter, or
Dan
does it?
He's making some smart moves, by the way. Anytime I see like, oh, I have an easy move next turn, he's doing something to make it annoying.
Yeah, your brother's a smart cookie.
Yes.
The the rhetorical dial, right? It once always moved left. Cthulhu always moves left, but the thing is that there's still a riptide to the right, right? Like when a ship moves left in the sea, the waves and the wake the waves and the foam that trail behind it move to the right, and it affects things. With something as big as quote unquote Cthulhu, that's got to have a big reaction to that. It's like when someone's hit by a boat, they're not actually hit by a boat. The wake drags them under and throws them out behind, if you get me. And the more farther left it goes, the more it drags people under and throws them out behind.
A card.
Fuck
you.
So then with
fuck the cats.
That was an easy move.
So then with the rhetoric, it moves and moves and moves. And dialectic is actually in agreement with the rhetoric at that extreme level. In the end, it's like, okay, guys, let's argue about this at a deep level. The migrants won't leave. The migrants are continuing the crimes that they committed earlier.
Yeah, like that.
The migrants. The migrants are doing this. The migrants are doing that. What's the answer? They refuse to move. They are protesting it. Remigration is failing. Either we have to live and let them continue on raping our daughters, or, we have to put a stop to it somehow. And that would be, maybe not the genocide option, but certainly the concentration camp option, because their per capita rape is insane. It is some of the highest in the world. And that counts African nations. And there are whole cities of women in parts of Africa that are entirely made up of warlord rape victims. I know this because our church donated a large bunch of food there until another group came over and started scamming us, because it's Africa. Wonderful Africa. With yeah, I'm not even exaggerating. I paid $170 into this, and then the money got diverted, and I could have really used that money. And oh my goodness.
No, that's very funny, but I'm also laughing at the chat. So, but both of these things are funny.
Yeah, well, we will get to the chat before the end. So it's like, like that's an insane level. That's insane. England is crumbling. But the thing is that if you go to England, If you stay out of the migrant areas, which are also bordered on where the poor whites live, you'll actually find it's peaceable, lovely, beautiful country. The people are friendly. Outside of the city of London, it's not really as full of tourists as you might be led to believe. It's bad, but outside of the slums and ghetto areas, or areas that would be a ghetto, it's not that bad. So that's the thing, right? So it's like there's no turning back the clock once remigration opens up, right? And it's already opened up because Rupert Lowe is basing a lot of his politics on it. Because it's not based on white identitarianism, it has more of a beef to it than other things. But the thing is that a lot of his rhetorical level is white identitarianism or English identitarianism, which would work, except that England, if you're not, if you're not like already doing violence to the people doing evil to your precious daughters, you are going to, you're not like there's a click there that didn't click. And you just kind of have to, get stuck with where you are, which is why it's very important that Rupert Lowe succeeds. These things are entirely, controllable from the perspective of not controllable. What do I want? The phrase is these things are entirely manageable. The violence and everything else like that, if you're honest with it, and there isn't a well-paid higher power like the Black Lives Matter stuff I talked about earlier in the stream that is funding the continuance of the evil being done on you and suppressing your natural reaction to the evil being done for you. There we go. I got it out.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, when it comes to something like White Lives Matter, like I said, the thing about it and what made it good for the time was that it moved the discussion to dialectic where you will inevitably lose. Because then you go into, oh, well, the real issue is like blacks are the ones who are being oppressed, and that's the. And then you go, right, but the problem is that that's obviously not true. They're clearly not being oppressed. This is very obvious to anybody with a fucking brain. I feel strongly about this, as do you, I am sure. Oh no. Good luck. Ha!
Wow.
Ha ha!
This is what I get for hiring communists straight out of art school.
Yes. Woodland Alliance gets bitch the fuck out.
I didn't lose anybody. Fuck you, buddy.
Yeah, you didn't win anyone either, and you were attacked. Okay. Sorry, whatever. Yeah, like the whole thing worked for that. It doesn't work any other time because, frankly, nobody feels bad for white people ever.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And they
Not
won't.
even
I
white
do
people.
think it was effective rhetoric for a time because it forced people to confront the dialectic, right?
Right.
But any other time, if you go like it's okay to be white or whatever, no one's gonna be like, so what? You're saying we should feel bad for white people? Now you might go yes, but nobody will, right?
Right.
Like they just won't. That's the thing. Like, actually, the systemic racism is quite definitionally and literally, and I mean this in a dialectical way, the systemic racism is against whites, right?
Yep.
Like, this is clear.
Yep.
Meanwhile, he's got a fur ball going. Second time in a row.
Your phone starts ringing.
That was really funny.
You're just gonna win it. This is what
I am. I win this turn. For the record, I do win this turn. I'm pretty sure it's guaranteed. But
anyway, so like let's count the ways. One of the biggest ways for a person to open a business and start generating wealth for themselves is a loan, either from banks or from like governments. There is an immense amount of discrimination against non-immigrant Americans, but especially against white Americans about getting these loans. The Patel Motel cartel was entirely funded by government loans. Uh, a lot of black people opened up small businesses during COVID, got themselves some PPP loans, and it's very clear that no one's ever going to prosecute anyone except for the really stupid offenders who left a very clear paper trail and videos talking about all the lobster they're eating now that they've embezzled the PPP loan, which I wish was half the joke it was, but it was a really big thing at the time. I'm going to kill you.
Wow.
That's right. That's right.
And you should have
That's
known
right.
by
Fight the
now
power.
one guy. at
Nah,
least
well,
the
he
base.
can't. No, he can't though. Let's be
True.
fair.
Yeah.
He's not really in a good position. I am the only one in the good position because we all banded up against the cats.
Except
But
for
the
me,
Lord of the
Yeah.
Hundreds was the true enemy all along.
Anyway, the loans are just a small one. What's another one? It is generally considered that a black man can get off 35 times from horrible crimes, including stabbing, kidnapping, aggravated assault, attempted murder, various forms of sexual misconduct. Whereas, no white. This is like I can't think of a time this ever happened to a white who wasn't part of the ruling caste of his local precinct. When people bring up things like that one kid who like murdered a girlfriend, one, he had an expensive $1 million lawyer, and that means something. And two, he was smart when he was brought into the police precinct and didn't, immediately indict himself. You'd be shocked.
and
You'd be
yeah,
shocked how much you could get out of by simply not talking to the police and waiting for your lawyer. If you ever watch like true crime stuff, half the people who last years just didn't talk to the police or didn't say anything important to the police. But like like a TikTok just came out this week. Where it was like, I'm a lawyer for the city of Atlanta, and I let out my guy who has 30 something aggravated assault charges. What is that? No one's ever heard of that for a white guy. It's one of those things where there's clearly a level of freedom given. Like the guy who stabbed Aredia, and the part of the reason why she's such a martyr is because he was just like an irredeemable bastard. He should have been hung in any reasonable society 20 assault charges ago out of the 32 he had. Or whatever number it was. Like, put into a mental asylum, comes out a year later, goes on to almost immediately stab a white girl because she thought this Ukrainian who was a liberal said some, slurs to him. I can do another one if you guys want.
Yeah,
What time?
let's try a clockwork game just for fun since we just warmed up with a normal game.
Sure. So it's like that sort of thing, right? Legally, loans, monetarily. Like, for example, I looked at some things I could do for some credit to take care of some things. It's like none of that works. But then it's like, you look over for disadvantaged people, which even though I'm fairly of the lower classes, don't qualify for because I'm not a racial minority. Don't get me wrong though, those rates are predatory as shit, and I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. But there's just no equivalent. You look through these things, you find it again and again and again. Minorities being let into colleges even though they don't qualify. Yeah, sure, we'll accept your degree from an Indian university that never has any backing that you clearly aren't qualified for. Absolutely not. You have to do this and you have to do this again for your stuff, and that's just things that I've experienced. Like it goes on and on and on and on. Like the fact is that even though white identitarianism doesn't work as a strategy to win, uh, in reality, the other ones do work as a strategy to win because they have elite backing and governmental support even now.
All
So
right, the new game is up, by the way. You can join in.
Yeah.
This is co-op.
What faction? Let's do Woodland Alliance again.
Very nice. This time we are on the same side. Somebody mentioned, by the way, that they didn't like that. One of the things they did not like about it, about the clockwork, was that it didn't fit the lore. Like, why are we working together? I disagree. I think the idea of everybody working together because a clockwork monstrosity is attacking the woodland is fun. I like that. Okay, well, you can join. It's a Bellamy's game.
I know I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to play as because Ben's going to take Woodland Alliance.
I mean, I don't have to play Woodland Alliance. I'll play.
You could try Woodland since he played last game. You could try Woodland.
Or do I want to play the COVID's Conspiracy?
Oh yeah, you have. So she has some other faction. She bought one of the DLC. Corvid Conspiracy is famously bad. So they are very good. I would play them.
Okay.
There we go.
Woodland Alliance.
The moles. Up, we're going cats. Cool.
Okay.
But beyond that,
no, we're going bird hunting this time. All right, this time we are all on the same team. Go team. Our goal is to all reach 30 points before the mechanical Eerie. The electric Eerie, they call it.
Okay. Now where do I go then after I...
All right, so yeah. Going back to this, it's difficult, right? Because rhetoric has a place and dialectic has a place. But defining what that place is can actually be kind of hard. All right. Setting up my homeland in the game.
So, like, just to finish my point, it's like it's clear that there's, like a connection between identitarian power and the people willing to fund identitarian power. If there's no power, real power, not like mob power, behind XYZ, it's just not going to happen, no matter how noble or just the cause. That's why Rupert Lowe has a chance of power, because if he gets into power and say he forms a coalition with Nigel Farage, they will actually have elite backing, governmental backing, which will, promote their ideals more. Anyway, go for it, Anthony.
Yeah, it's so first off, we're actually going to have a super hard time here because Caitlin has never played Underground Duchy before, and I have also never played Underground Duchy, and you certainly have not. So I have no clue how to win. That's fun. I like that. Good. So anyway, yeah, what I was going to say, it's really hard to figure out, like, what do you actually do for good dialectic, for like when do you use dialectic and when do you use rhetoric? That's the words I'm looking for. So like It's Okay to Be White was excellent rhetoric at the time, and the reason it worked so well was because it forced people to make the move to dialectic, right? Same thing with like White Lives Matter was not. White Lives Matter was terrible.
Dialectically.
White Lives, I would argue it was actually also bad rhetorically. Anytime someone used, the main reason I would argue it was bad rhetorically is because every time I heard it, I rolled my eyes because I knew that the person who was using it was only using it because Black Lives Matter went viral, right?
See, yeah, but it was a good as a way to goad our enemies into mistakes, including things like saying that like
I'll give you
white lives don't matter. In fact, we're going to kill Whitey. They said a lot of that stuff.
That's true. The reason it doesn't work anymore is because it works as a response to a specific thing. On its own, again, like I was saying earlier, nobody really cares about white people, right? Nobody really cares. Like, white people are going to complain. The perception is still that the white person is privileged in some way. It's not true. In fact, it's the opposite of true. What I was trying to get at earlier was that dialectically, officially, actually, in reality, there is systemic racism and it is against white people, quite literally. So, what does systemic racism even mean? Well, systemic racism means that the system is in some way racist, right? So, what does racist mean? Well, when you're talking about a system, it's not literal hatred, but it's that the system is in some way biased for or against a particular race, or particularly like for a particular race, thus meaning that it is biased against other races, right? Well, the system explicitly supports Black people.
Yeah.
Right? Like very explicitly. It's very open about this. This is like kind of the goal, right? Like, we're allowed to have historically black colleges where white people don't enter. You can never do that with white people. That's the system. The system permits this, right?
Yep.
And that means it is a systemically racist thing. Now, you could argue that this is where like Vox Day comes in. You could argue, well, preference for your race is not sin. They're not doing anything wrong by doing this. Maybe you're right. That's not even the point, right? Like, that's not, who cares? So what? So you're correct. Okay. Even if you are correct, whatever. All right, this is going to be very tricky how we handle this. So let me pause for a second here to figure out the turn. Since we are working together, it's really interesting. What you need to do is when I enter a clearing with people, move out of my way, right? Because I need to own the clearing. We got a dog pile on the electric Erie, and that's what I am planning on doing right now.
Okay.
Because we are all working together and they're our only enemy. So I'm sending all 6. In fact, I'm going to send 5 of 6 people over 1. And then I'm going to do it again so that I'm in the spot with the electric Erie. And then should I attack them? Yes. Let's hurt what we can.
Not bad.
There we go. Pretty good. And I'll keep doing it. All right, sorry. Now, so my point being that there is systemic racism, and there's other examples too that you could think of. Very good. There's other examples too you could think of. The very existence of the NAACP is one example, right?
Yep.
Okay, this was a great turn for Go Team. Yeah, very good. All right. I actually don't even know what the Erie does now.
Yeah.
Like, what I don't know how the clockwork works. So
we burned down your great tree, assholes.
Yeah. We burnt down your great tree. This feels like Avatar rhetoric, right? What was when they gave that the commander the speech from Warhammer? You know what I'm talking about, right? Feel like, oh, you worship your tree and go and think that makes you superior, while my war bands march through the woodland and take what they want, kill who stands in their way. And go, well, where is your tree now, birds? Something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we're in the middle of a discussion on rhetoric and dialectic, and that's good, but I would like to talk to you about book ideas I have and see what you say, but we'll do that later. I'm going to try and stay on topic with my point. So there's systemic racism, right? The existence of the NAACP is another one. An existence of a white version of that organization would simply not be tolerated, right? It might be legally tolerated, but it wouldn't be practically societally tolerated, right?
Yep.
There's all sorts of things. Now, you could argue, of course, that they are justified to be doing this, that they should be allowed, that there's nothing wrong with this. You could argue all sorts of things, right?
Right.
But what you can't argue is that it is systemically racist if you define racist as giving a specific advantage conveyed by the system to one group and not another, right? So
Right.
the only systemically racist things are really against white people, and not even for black people, because there are some things that are just for minorities generically, which means anyone but white people, right? So
Which Indians are colonizing like, holy shit, calm down. Settle down a little bit.
go for the birds. Go for the birds, moles.
What my plan is, I'll be moving my army up north to reinforce the twos, and then up to reinforce my other sawmill.
Wow. Okay, cool. Perfect. Nice.
Right. So it's like let's move on a little bit from there. So like when Bap was saying his spiel against this stuff, which he was a little bit drunk. I'm gonna guess. Uh, but the no, I have no idea what his mindset like. He's making a good point. Like the idea that we could base anything on identitarianism without elite backing, without actually a combined soul, which the black people do have through their terrible history. And by terrible, I don't mean bad things happening to them. I mean, it's literally terrible. You can just make up black history and they'll believe it.
Attack those birds up in the corner there.
I am sorry. Keep going.
And like that's the joke. It's like they'll believe anything, and you tell a story about how the British ate 500 black people, Indians. They have the same mindset. So I'm going to use this example. The English East India Tea Company used to have a jam.
Apologies, I have to attack you the way
It's
that
fine.
my character works, but
It's
you
fine.
only have one guy there.
He's a martyr to the cause.
Yes,
I'll build a statue to him later. He'll be indistinguishable from the other statues. But
yes.
It's that jam thing. That's completely made up. If I said something like the East India Trading Company used to eat, a Brahmin male every year at their corporate banquet, they just totally believe it. Like if you provide some AI images in a sad soundtrack of a woman, crying as her husband is
arms of the angel. No.
As he's drowned in a tea kettle or something, like something ridiculous like that. They'll just believe it. It's like there's a bit more of an identity.
Move your cats out of clearings with me so I can oppress them.
Okay. I will. How many movements do I get? 3. Okay. I will move out of the bottom one, and then I'll use the rest of my movements for the thing I was talking about earlier. Actually, can I? Sorry. Okay, I'm going to recruit first.
Bum, bum, bum. We're thinking things over. We're being careful.
Yep.
We kill birds. Because here in the club, we all fam.
That's right. We're all mammals here.
Yeah. In the you know the meme, right?
No.
Do you know what I'm referring to? So there's a meme of there was like a clip of someone going, "In the club, we all fam," and then someone's going, "What?"
He just used it. He just crafted an ambush card.
It's fine. It's fine. In the club, we all fam. And then he goes, "Wait, I'm sorry. What did you say?" He goes, in the club, we all fam. And he goes, "I'm sorry." Nice. Very good. And then they're going, "I'm sorry, I don't understand what you mean." And like she sighs and goes, "In the club, we're all family." And he goes, "Oh, cool." That's the reference I am making. It's very stupid. All right. So Duchy, underground Duchy, what you need to do is
taking a hole right here.
Attack the Erie, then move out of that clear. Also move, see where my mouse is? Move out of that clearing so I control it.
Right over here then, after I attack it?
Sure, do what you want. Just kill.
kill,
You
kill.
won't let me. Oh yeah, here we go.
So it's hard to make an argument when there isn't any shared motivation or single will. Mammals unite works until we have to actually work
I
together, and then
lost
it's
it.
like everyone
Dino.
has different abilities and different ideas that they have to do. And
Yeah,
it's
I
very,
actually really like this co-op mode. Apparently, it's got mixed reviews. I played it once and I found it very fun.
yeah,
For the reason you're saying, like the asymmetry kind of carries over to the co-op, right? Because
yep,
like you can't fully ever eliminate the clockwork. Like as you saw, we literally did, and they just rebuilt because otherwise the game would be too easy, right?
It won't let
So
me do
because
it.
you can't physically eliminate them,
It
like
won't let
you
me
need
do
to
it,
also focus on
unfortunately.
scoring when you can, right?
yep,
It's not letting me move, unfortunately. So
Okay, yeah, that's fine. It's fine. It's cool. You need to also focus on like you need to focus on doing what you can. So
yeah,
you're playing this game where like you're all on the same side. You don't want to screw anyone else over, but you do need to win, right?
yep,
Like in a sense. And it doesn't matter who gets the 30 victory points first. That's not the game. But
right,
you do need to balance scoring points. Like it's interesting. I like it.
yeah,
It's a different challenge, you know?
yeah.
Okay, let's
And
see what I
it carries into art and stuff like that. Like if I wrote a novel about the white race being destroyed and stuff like that. Agartha is the last bastion of the white trickstologists, or whatever meme we have at that time. It just doesn't quite work the same as Wakanda. Wakanda is stupid. Wakanda is patently the dumbest possible rhetoric Africa can use. But the Africans and African Americans practically believe it wholeheartedly. They eat up the idea that, if it wasn't for Whitey, they'd be living in skyscrapers and stuff like that. But it's what
take
can you
that
do about it?
boost.
It's their rhetoric and their beliefs. And with if they give it up, they feel like they're losing a part of themselves. They'd have to actually face the fact that their history has been a series of sordid affairs where, to be fair to them, they have been the losers. I don't know whether it's the curse of Ham or whatever, but it's clear that God has not giving them the necessary
Well,
uh,
I think
abilities.
honestly it's kind of simpler than that, right?
Yeah,
Like I don't think there's a curse of Ham or anything. I think it's just like let me put it another way. Somebody had to end up being like the loser of a lot of these historical things. You know what I mean?
it's true.
Like somebody had to be. It's just how that works, just how life works. You can't really do anything about it.
Yep,
Everybody was in the situation that the Africans were in at one point. Like we were all losers at one point. I agree with the take. People have pointed this out, and I do think they're correct. There was a time when the backwater of the world was Europe. The Roman, and I mean Central Europe,
yep,
the Romans would have considered them that. Northern Africa was civilization. Mesopotamia was civilization, right?
yep,
Asia had civilizations. You know what didn't? Northern Europe, the Germans, right?
yep.
The British, all of them. They were
Some would say
barbarians.
the Germans still don't have civilization.
Some would say, yes. Uh, but not like in all actuality though, not in the same way as blacks, right? So
Yeah,
it's interesting, right? Like when you talk about like, well, what's going on with Africa, like why is it like that? I mean, even like there were civilizations, it's true, they were brutally evil civilizations. There were civilizations in America. There weren't really civilizations in the southern parts of Africa. Now, people will say there were, but this results in equivocation on what we mean by civilization, right? Um,
yep,
we would consider these, they don't have any history. They don't have a written history, so we would consider them something closer to barbarians. Uh, they're barbarians, right?
yes,
Like that's the thing when people go like, why don't we learn black history in school? Like the big secret is they don't have any. Like, and by that you go like, oh, so you're saying like nothing happened? No, they didn't write it down. Like they
yeah,
They never wrote down their history. There's no Black history books to read. He's like, oh, why aren't we studying the history of the Central African tribes? My dude, there's no books. Like nobody,
Right.
like nobody wrote anything. We don't have primary sources. The best we have are people who are trying to fucking like reconstitute it,
Yep. That's why things like Mali are so studied, even though the Mansa Musa inherited some of the greatest and richest gold mines of the country. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Mansa Musa is very interesting. Don't get me wrong.
Slavery, like you wouldn't believe.
There are parts of, the Egyptian civilization is part of Africa, technically, at least. And it's fascinating. Everybody goes through it. Every boy, red-blooded boy, goes through an Egypt phase. If
I'm still in it.
Yes,
a girl with an Egypt haircut would heal me.
Any healthy childhood you go through an Egypt phase. Yeah. And the Egyptians are fascinating, but like that's pretty much it. Like Mansa Musa can be interesting, right?
And technically, the Egyptians aren't even Africans proper.
They're not what people think of. They're Middle Easterners. Let's be honest. Yeah. We know that's what they are. Just like Augustine was African. Augustine was fucking white. Like who are you kidding?
He was Roman. He was Roman descended.
Yes. Even the Egyptians, like they were mostly Middle Eastern, something closer to the Mesopotamian phenotype for most of their existence, and then the Greeks took them over.
Yep.
You're gaining points very slowly, but to be Dutchy, but to be fair to you, I understand this is the first time you've played this and you don't really get it. So I'm not gonna go too hard against you. Yeah.
So it's like you can't really you can play like the Egyptians are Africans card for an identitarian reason, but it only works without actually diving into it, right?
That gets hit to one.
The second that it goes to like, oh, actually there's no they don't paint themselves the same. Their culture was completely different from anything that happened on the African continent. It falls apart. Like we have examples of civilizations in Africa. Mansa Musa, who decided to wreck every economy between Mali and Mecca with hyperinflation on gold. That's an insane amount of money. You also have Ethiopia. Guess why they don't bring up Ethiopia? Because it's Christian. They want to point out stuff about the Zulus and stuff like that, but the Zulus were a ravening horde that came out of nowhere and killed everyone they could get their hands on, just like most of the Native American tribes here in America. When they rolled in, they either massacred everyone or they enslaved everyone. A few did merge, few were more peaceful than we give them credit for, but it's like fundamentally it's just violence.
And I would go so far as to say when it comes to things like, the Native Americans are a similar thing where you go like, oh, well, why don't we study Native American history? Like, there isn't any. Like, what Native American history? Yep. And again, it's not that nothing happened. They didn't write it down. Now, this is, of course, not true of all the Native Americans.
Right.
The
Iroquois were happy to write a certain amount down.
Well, there's the Inca had a massive civilization. The Aztecs were an evil civilization, but they were a civilization. Same with the Maya.
Yep.
Like all of the that sort of thing, but like.
You also have a band right there that needs taking care of.
Yes. If you and Ben can move from that roost so I get an extra victory point, that would be swell. And kill those from...
I'm not over there.
Isn't that you?
No, I'm a mole.
Yeah, Underground Duchy Warrior.
Oh yeah, I gotta figure out how to move him.
Yeah, I don't... You'll have to do the tutorial on the moles because they're supposed to be extremely strong. They're actually, statistically, the moles are the second best faction all of Root. They have an over 30% win rate. One of only two factions, and the other is the Arbiter Vagabond, who is like a type of vagabond. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, like sure, there were Native American civilizations. There were the Maya, and there were the Aztec, and there were the Inca. But that's the thing. For one thing, we do study them a lot. Everybody knows about them. Why don't we study, the Iroquois or the Comanche or whatever? Well, because they didn't write anything down. There's nothing to study. The best we could do was try and recreate what we know, right? Oral history is a sham. It doesn't really work. Credit to Bart Ehrman for this. That's the agnostic anti-Christian scholar. He correctly pointed this out, and I agree with him on this. I think his arguments hold. There is no oral history is notoriously unreliable. Kill that bird, and so they have nothing. Nothing, Ben.
I want to build something.
Get the Clockwork Menace out of the forest.
I want to build something.
Yeah. You should probably build something.
I need points.
You do.
Actually.
Points though, so.
You do need the most points, but that's because you don't know how to score.
True.
Tip for you. Click on the duchy, and it gives you this little screen and tells you stuff.
That's wild.
If you have 3 lords on the board, if you have lords on the board, you get 3 victory points.
Okay.
Every time you sway them or something. Each rank of a minister may be swayed a maximum 3 times a game. The amount of times you have left is represented by crowns. To sway a lord, you got to spend 4 cards, but it might be worth it.
But are they going to destroy my recruiting office?
Oh,
they did. You dick.
Score 1 victory point per citadel on the map. Build citadels, and then do... See, that's why you should have done what I said and killed it. All right, don't worry. I'll take it out now. Never mind. He's alive. I was very confident. I was wrong. Ben, I was wrong. Somehow my warlord still lives. I don't know how that's happening.
I can't tell what these images are. There's like a baton pass. I guess I'll choose that.
Baton pass. Oh, you destroyed your keep? You just fucked yourself over?
What did I do?
The thing that you picked to destroy, you could have destroyed a recruiter, but you destroyed your keep.
What?
We are so gonna lose now.
Okay.
This is
anyway.
Bad. This is very bad. But funny.
I couldn't tell what I was clicking on. It was just like some weird symbols that didn't
give
me a
mouse over it, it tells you.
It didn't.
Out of there, Ben, for you.
All right. So if it looked like a little castle, that was your keep, and now now you are fucked. Your field hospital ability is permanently gone. You can't rebuild the keep.
No, my field hospital
it on purpose. So that's great. We're loving this.
That's a whoopsie.
That's a bit of... All right. So you can't waste people anymore.
Yes, I can.
Well, you could, but you shouldn't.
Yeah, okay.
Oh no, I just messed up.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate that.
Domestic violence.
To be honest with you, it actually probably isn't a terrible thing because you need the points.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Take it. Activate ministers. If you
do that,
discard all 4 cards and then activate the strongest minister you can.
Choose a minister. How do I discard?
Let me show me your screen.
Yeah, that's about all I wanted to talk about, really, for the rhetoric and dialectic stuff. Like, there's power to rhetoric, there's power to dialectic, but fundamentally, power flows from power. If something has a multi-billion-dollar ad campaign behind it, it's fundamentally stronger rhetoric. If your opponent reacts to it, it's strong rhetoric. The problem is that when it comes down to actual coalition building and nation building, as well as fixing things within a nation, It actually devolves down into the dialectic level. You have to have arguments and reasoning, and you have to figure out a budget. When the budget isn't infinite money to African grifters, you actually find that it's
Move out of
difficult to
here.
roll it. One of the things that Rupert Lowe and Nigel Farage, if they do, come into power and form a coalition,
Go here.
they'll find that actually all the leftist labor MPs were, empowered by their people to obscure them, like treat them the same way that Donald Trump was treated, fight them on every single field all the time, get nothing done so that they're failures, let them get corrupted by foreign influences, so on and so forth. It's a difficult way of doing things.
A mob in an area with you, so whoopsie.
Anyway, that's kind of the whole thing, right? Like whatever good rhetoric is something like White Lives Matter, because it both energizes your own side and, for most people, energizes your own side, and it causes the enemy to act out of anger. That's good. But at the same time, there's a shelf life. Certain things might not work as well as you want them to. And eventually what happens is that you have to move on to the next bit of rhetoric, especially if you have no outsider backing, like, again, Black Lives Matter does. So that's the whole thing. You can't write books about it. You can't really write whole ideas about it because it moves too fast. It's like having memes inside your book. It just doesn't work that way. It's like the travesty of them updating the books so that they have TikTok referenced rather than YouTube or whatever, which is disgusting. This is why you should have physical copies of all your books and not just Kindle, because I'll fucking delete it and replace it with something that's a skin suit of it that's lesser, that's worse.
Agreed. We're scoring at a good pace here. Okay.
Cards to craft. Choose an action. I still have all my actions. Oh, I just can't build. Oh.
See, yeah. You see the problem now.
I do.
I guess go after some Irie.
Yeah.
Or some Irie.
Sorry, I'm looking at where the threats are. I need to take the center column back again. So.
There you go. Yeah,
don't destroy my
the moles
sawmill.
30 points before the Erie is going to be a bit of a problem. I think everybody else, we understand the scoring engines. The moles, I have no clue. I don't get how they work at all. Okay. That's fine. You know what? We can live with that. Oh, shit.
Dude, I didn't even see that.
Oh, no. Okay. I thought they just used Favor of the Foxes. They didn't.
No, you better not.
Good. Excellent.
Trying to attack me.
That's fine. They only got one.
No, they got
two. They did it again. But they've entered
killed more cats.
We're good. They're fine. All right, Shatner.
Yeah, I'm going to go on and
try and destroy that base.
Yeah, I'm going to go on an Erie hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The reason
here's
why...
the good thing that we could do is that if we can wipe out the Erie and Ben and I can reach 30 victory points, we'll just clear out and let you destroy all of our stuff and farm points.
Yeah.
Right? Once we hit 30, it'll be easy.
But... Mostly Anthony's stuff.
Yeah, because I have a lot of but you have a lot of cardboard, they call it, right? You have a lot of buildings too.
Yeah, but anyway.
What I mean is when you hit 30.
Yeah.
I'll probably hit 30 first because I don't know. Lord of the Hundreds is real good, guys.
Yeah.
I like him.
Power creep is real.
Power creep is real. Although the Woodland Alliance is still considered to be very good.
Yo,
we just had a
I only
poor,
took one
poorish
out.
game.
You gotta be
Yeah.
kidding me. That stinks.
I had a very nice game with my guys, although the cat was a real threat in our game, I gotta say. My brother did
Yep.
quite well, considering that the cat can be a difficult faction to use. No hate. Mob tokens, great. That's okay. What do I
Yeah.
want?
Books
Let's
lose
go.
timelessness if the rhetoric you're talking about isn't timeless itself. It's why like Christian books like Pilgrim's Progress, which is just pure rhetoric with some dialectic mixed in, but it's basically pure Protestant propaganda with actual like theology behind it. Like there's scenes where it's like it's a good way to see like how Protestants were talking about Catholic theology. Christian walks up to Mr. Catholic, Mr. Roman, Mr. Papist, and Mr. Papist says, "Oh, you wish to go to the city of salvation? Yes, I want that more of anything." And I'm saying it wrong.
I'll get my guys.
But okay, if you wish to do so, you must climb this mountain. And Mr. Christian was previously warned by Mr. Evangelist that if he must not walk off the road and go to the right or the left, no matter what anyone offers him. He must follow the road that leads to the cross, salvation. Which isn't like like you might say, well, walking a road towards your salvation is a work. Well, okay, no, but like it doesn't work that way, because it's like the kid who opens a Christmas present on
I
Christmas.
gotta battle you, sorry.
It's fine. Is not the kid that worked for the money to buy the present, wrapped the present, went out and bought the present, whatever. So by comparison, when Mr. Papist shows up,
Don't ambush me because I'm battling you without doing damage. I'm doing something called looting. I'm taking an item and you can't use items.
I was about to kill your two guys, but I guess not.
No, don't do that. Yeah, see, I take coins and who cares? You don't use those anyway.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's what I'll do if I need to battle someone. That's actually good. Good to know.
So when Mr. Christian comes up to the mountain that the Mr. Papist told him about, he begins to climb. If he reaches the top, he will, of course, achieve salvation. He will come into the heavenly city. But what happens is as he goes, the rocks loom over him. And if he he feels like they may fall on him at any moment, and he becomes scared and he runs for it. And eventually comes to I can't remember the name of this guy, but he's Mr. Wiseman, and he explains some of the metaphors that were used earlier in the book. And he says about this particular adventure that the rocks that loomed over him that scared him was the law of Catholicism, which was much more restrictive at that time than at other times. Like I will gently remind Catholic brothers who are unlike Anthony, not maybe as educated as to their own history, that there have been reforms of the Catholic Church. That they have said, okay, this is important. The reason why the Catechism exists is so that Catholics everywhere might have the same rules and laws. According to their spiritual nature. And that didn't always exist in the same way that we have it today, in the same way of dogmas changing. Or rather dogmas being added. That's a more accurate way to say that. Or looking at the councils. So he says, oh, these are the laws of. I'll remind everyone also that Pilgrim's Progress was written in the 1600s. That the Catholics lay on them, so that they may fall on the Christian man at any time. That it feels like he may be destroyed by these laws, and that he may never reach the city of salvation. The heavenly city. He may never be loosed of his bounds of sin and shame. Instead, he's buried in the rubble of the rules and the law. So it's against the work. The rhetoric is very much against Catholicism, but the dialectic is against the works-based faith That was the idea that Catholics were promoting at that time in history. You have to do this. You have to show up to the church. You have to pay money. You have to obey these laws, and the Pope can remove your salvation from you with an excommunication. If you break his laws, that sort of thing. Like, that's good book rhetoric, because if you read it at the time, it makes a lot of sense. I explain things because you're not reading it, and there's a better flow when you're reading it. Because also I want to, kind of chop off arguments at different points, because I'm not debating 16th century Catholic law, in the same way that John Bunyan was. But sorry guys, but it's a good way for you to spread rhetoric in an immortal way in the book that's there. Fundamentally, if you look on the outside of things, you have this catechism and all these things you have to believe. But then when you talk to, say, an evangelical minister, if he's a good one, he will say something like, actually, you only need to I'll start building this stuff back. You only need to believe in Christ and you shall be saved. Et cetera, et cetera. It's a way to communicate truths and the reason behind truths without actually sounding like a school marm, without actually having to dial into boring dialectic that most people don't really have the time or the will to break down. It's the same way that things like the Grail quest in King Arthur has a lot to it. The Is there a bastion of Erie out there? Okay, I see it.
Hmm.
I'm just going to keep these here and reinforce it.
You know what? That's not a terrible idea in this case, because the Erie's right there, and I'm scoring at a fine pace. I'm not worried about losing my scoring engine,
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
In the same, like, and authors who were working on that with, like, say, the Grail quest. What is the Grail quest about? It's about the peak of manhood in the Christian ideal and value. Galahad is the best knight in the world.
You could
He
attack
could.
me. No, I did not.
Galahad is the best knight in the world. He can defeat Lancelot. He's spiritually pure. The sins of Lancelot don't touch him. He doesn't. When he comes to the Castle of Maidens, he remains pure. He is able to. The cup is of Jesus's blood is revealed to him. Because of his purity, because of how he acts. In the same way. That if you want to, it's a way of giving a moralistic lesson without being a moralizing faggot. Like, that's the kind of thing about it. What can you do about it? Okay, well, if you fight the good fight and you remain pure as a knight, as a man, you will be closer to God. Sexually pure, to be very clear. It's in an age of pornography, that's a lesson we need a lot of. Rhetoric against pornography is also a good one. It won't work the same way across all people. For one thing, someone could say, well, these women are oppressed and these men are oppressed too in some other ways. But in actuality, there's very famous pornographer actors and actresses who retired and don't crusade against pornography. In other words, they're of the machine. So in other words, that rhetoric doesn't work universally. You might say that it kills women. Sure, okay, but I don't actually care about that as much as you might think. Partially because my job is to throw drunk women out of the bar, which I do less than I exaggerate, but it's there. And also I have had the misfortune of having to drag multiple horny women out of the men's bathroom as they're trying to find somebody who will scratch an itch I'd rather never see anyone scratching. Probably not even myself, quite frankly. The lights are going to stay off. It's like you just can't, like that comes from somewhere, right? In actuality, you have to deal with the sin nature of men and women, and say that pornography is evil because it distorts what God has set. It distorts marriage. It distorts men's sexual drives. It distorts women's sexual drives. It distorts the rewards that people get for sexual purity and sexual expression within marriage. The me, being a kissing whore for $20, like that one South Park episode, is not serious. It was off the cuff. I enjoyed it, but it's like if it had come to a real
I
sin,
have no choice. I gotta battle someone.
uh,
Although I wish you had an item that you'd crafted.
I can't.
Does Marquis have an item? No.
I
Okay.
don't know. But if it had led to say something a much more serious sexual sin, like we went home together, it would have been a deeper evil. It would have been something that would have caused destruction both for me and that one chick.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's interesting. It reminds me of when I was doing pro life work, and I remember someone asking me, so like when they asked like why I was there, and I go, so why are you interested in helping women? And I looked at them and I said, like, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't really care about helping women. And then they were like, and I was being completely straight faced, totally serious. They were surprised. They're like, well, then what are you doing here? I said, I want to help babies.
Yep.
Like they're killing babies. Yeah, like I'm like, look, I understand that there is a practical value in giving avenues for the women and treating them in such a way that they won't kill their babies because they're currently in the position that they can do that. But in terms of like where do my sympathies lie, it's not with the women.
Yep. So
And
like
I maintain this to this day, by the way.
yep. And so like going up to me and going, actually, Ben, the strongest argument against pornography is that it affects women. I'm just gonna go like, nah, I don't care.
Yeah, no, that's obvious nonsense.
It's obvious nonsense. That's not something that'll affect me. You can't really fight me on that rhetorical basis. You can, of course, get me on the spiritual nature of things, but not everyone can handle that. If I go up to Bronze Age pervert and say, actually, Mr. Pervert, your sexual positioning is entirely bad for everyone and the cause, and so on and so forth, he's not going to get it. He's not going to consider much of it, because it's not something that he can value. It offends God. Doesn't work on a man who thinks God's not real because animals suffer. It just doesn't work that way. By the way, Anthony, I might have to start destroying your mobs
I think you should. Yeah.
Because I just
seriously,
need
you really should. It'll help you farm points. I'm well enough ahead. They don't really help me. And
right.
the way that mobs work, like I don't want to screw you guys over, obviously,
But
but
you destroyed some of my buildings. Is
right, they have to, because like I don't have a choice. That's kind of part of the mechanic of the mob. You have to place it, and you only have a limited amount of locations you could place it.
Yeah.
The theory being like, well, you can't, once you start a mob, you can't fully control it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
no, I got you. Anyway,
so you absolutely should. And
was
by the way, Caitlin, you should as well if you can.
What?
Start destroying my mob tokens.
did I lose a bunch of people and I just didn't pay attention?
I don't think you did, but I
Anyway.
know I did. So maybe you did, because it didn't show me it showed me my battles, not your battles. So maybe you did.
Maybe I lost more than I was thinking. But like you go up to, you have to choose the right rhetoric for the right person.
Oh wait, it's my turn. Oops, sorry.
It's all right. Going up to, again, Mr. Pervert, going, actually, I think a prostitution spy ring is a terrible idea because the women who do prostitution are too self-interested. You would have to do things to them to make them loyal, which you could do to women to make them very loyal, but it destroys them. Like it destroys the spark of the God-given spark of the spirit that they have. It's a cruel thing to do that to them. Like I'm such a misogynist that I promote non-cruelty to women. Let's be nice to the Floyds. But it's like one of those things. Like if
Just zoom in. I need to zoom out. How do I zoom out?
mouse wheel.
Oh, it's 9/11. We should probably save this for later because we're gonna go very slow, mostly because of Caitlin not knowing how the duchy works.
Yeah, I know.
fine.
I don't know.
Which I'm not blaming you. I also don't know how they work. I can't teach you, but
Hold on, real quick. I want to battle. So
But it's
sure,
like,
do your turn and then we'll end it. We'll do like one more turn each.
yeah,
And we'll say maybe we could save it and we could come back later. But
yeah. But it's like you have to tailor it out. Like just because that won't work, well, he believes it'll work. He might be joking a bit because he is a bit of a jokester. But it's like you can't really use you can't use good rhetoric against people who are immune to it by their fundamental natures. In the same way that a Jack Chick track is good rhetoric, it's actually bad rhetoric for most people who aren't suggestible by that stuff. Like the Satanic Panic was not real is good rhetoric until you do research into it, because the Satanic Panic was reacting to real things, like the people down in Florida, the finders, Michael Aquino, some of the early stuff about Epstein. But it was latched on to Dungeons and Dragons because housewives don't really interact with Hollywood elite, and the internet didn't exist at that time where you could research all this easily. The reason why we know about Michael Aquino more than just some sensationalist news stories that disappeared in a week, which was part of he was a very satanic man, eyebrows out to his elbows. Like, this dude looked evil. Like, I'm just saying this right, that like if he played Emperor Palpatine, no one would know the difference. That's how evil he looked. MK Ultra and stuff like that. Well, all these things didn't exist without years and years and years of FOIAs and research and things being unclassified. The reason why the X-Files was as prescient as what it was is because it was actually one of the few spots where all these conspiracy theories were put in one spot and then rhetorically given weight, even though it was mostly to disprove or muddy the waters. It's your choices and how you handle the different
Can you save and quit?
rhetorics.
How do you do that?
I don't know. This will be my last turn either way. I think.
We'll each have our turn, like we said, or I don't really need a turn, quite frankly.
So this will be the end then. That's fine.
Yeah,
I'll do my turn just so you can continue your point. Yeah.
looks like we just have to resign, but
it's fine.
But if you went up to somebody,
we all know the truth. Erie wasn't winning.
No. But with when it comes to it, though, like now it's good rhetoric. But back in the 90s, it was the profession of kooks and weirdos who talked about having sex with space aliens and how their son was a new star child. Their son, together with the quintuple boobed alien babe, was going to rule the universe. Half of these people talk like that. Wow.
Sorry, I have no choice. You should probably ambush. Yeah.
How like that kind of thing was what they talked about. How do I know this? I have read books from that time period, and they talked about it for no reason. Like the 90s were wild, man. But like they didn't have it united, right? It was nonsense. Lore Lodge did a very good stuff with David Paulidy's books on Bigfoot abductions. Turns out a lot of them are easily disproven, or just had bad methodology to it, or the obvious perpetrator was not Bigfoot in the case of this one character, but a priest who later had pedophilic tendencies and was prosecuted for it. But his archbishop, this priest archbishop, gave the skull of the dead kid to this random dude, and the dude was like, I have no idea what to do with this, and he just kept it in his basement until he heard more about it and realized that he should say something. Like that's how this case was blown open. I don't think it was Bigfoot, but it looked like Bigfoot until this guy revealed that the local archbishop had given him the skull of this kid. Like it's a crazy story.
And let's resign. Yep.
Yeah, it's a crazy story.
We all know we won. They weren't
Yeah.
doing anything.
They weren't doing anything. It's a crazy story that again requires time and effort to bring out. So now the rhetoric is much more powerful because you could say, okay, we know where the kid was, we know what the criminal record of that particular priest was, we know that there's a skull that was given to him by various hierarchies. It goes on and on and on. Another good one was how corrupt people like Peter Popov were. So I could throw out a Protestant example. When he started, people didn't know that he had an ear pad, an ear thing that was like kind of molded into his ear. That where his wife was reading out all the prayer requests of the people who were coming in to talk to him and have him pray over their special issues that he knew from the Spirit. So he was just a giant magician's shuckster. And he would come up, oh, Amy, I know that you're sad. The Spirit's telling me you're sad because you had a miscarriage. We'll pray for you. Oh, how did you know? The Holy Spirit told me, my dear. And she would give a lot of money because he knew the affliction. He felt like a prophet. And thankfully, he is, of course, entirely debunked now. And a lot of them are getting more and more debunked as time goes on. But, it doesn't happen instantly. It doesn't happen the second it happens. You have to develop these things. And then it becomes really good rhetoric to go, oh, he's just a megachurch pastor, or he's just one of those kooky evangelists, or whatever you want to say. I don't really have a kill shot for it because I exist in the dialectic for those guys because they're my traitors to put down. It's just hard to sort of push people through things if the rhetoric isn't good and at hand to do. Going back to the porn example, porn shrinks brains. Okay, porn ruins lives. Okay, but my brother, hypothetical brother, not the one that died, looked at pornography and he's married with 5 kids. And he looked at porn. He had like Playboys out the ass. This guy went to Iraq, with a terabyte of porn, and he comes back and he's ruined. Okay, how do you answer that? Was it really the porn that ruined the guy, or was he, experiencing trauma from fighting in a war where he had to shoot civilians who were laying minefields? You can't universalize specific rhetoric like that because it doesn't work. Something like White Lives Matter does work more than that because it's universal enough to work. Remigration is currently good rhetoric because it's universal enough to work. The dialectic for remigration is also very good. The dialectic against race identitarianism is also very good against it. But the rhetoric for it has more strength in it than the rhetoric against it. So it's hard to sort of be moderate about these things without like losing track of what what is actually important to people and things and ideas. Guys who are online and are very well educated are not just going to get hit by a Deus Vult edit and then be Christian again. They just or Christian at all. The reason why the Orthodox came up and then sort of is dying down again is because they had very good rhetoric with young men because they didn't have as many shit libs. I mean, they have more heretics per capita, by the way. They have way more heretics per capita than you guys could possibly understand. You just have to look, and then you'll find 1,000 different ideas, from the corporocrats to the ladder to heaven, the toll booth theory, et cetera, et cetera. So like when people actually interact with it, it turns out it was just a meme and it's dying away again. These things run in their cycles. These things do this, these things do that. And if you don't tailor your rhetoric to the right way, to the immortal, to the good, the beautiful, the true, the more chinks in its armor it has, to the point where it becomes useless once the armor is stripped away by dialectic. There we go.
Very good. No, and I think that's a good spot to end it. So,
Sure.
uh, thank you all for watching in as we had some fun with the root. I am getting back into the game after taking like a years long hiatus. I've been like consuming a lot of root content. This is the first game I've won against live action people since I started playing again, though. So, yeah, I'm still not very good,
Yeah.
but that's okay. You, we,
Report.
we all learn. Uh, Next
Yeah.
week we get John C. Wright on the show. We'll
You
probably
kickstarted.
play Root and probably also Ahoy again at some point, but
Yeah.
we don't have specific plans for it. It's just fun.
The yeah, Eldritch Fan talks about playing Silk Song and stuff like that. That was a lot of fun. That's a pretty good game. The Hollow Knight guys are great eggs. We do appreciate our fans, and we want to thank you guys for listening to us through the 2 hour stream, as it was interrupted by our game. But I think it was a lot of fun.
Also,
I
I
know.
will tell you all, I unironically and fully recommend Root. The real hardcore, longtime fans of the show know I became a Root dieharder when the authoress A.M. Freeman got me, Ben, and Ken onto a game for the first time, and I won with the Woodland Alliance.
Yeah.
And then I was hooked. So, that's when I played a little bit at the time. Then I just kind of forgot about it for a while and got off. And then I don't know. I don't know why I got into it again because my family started. We started doing a weekly board game night, and I'm like, it was good, Root, and I like just got back into it. So, Root's a great game. You should get it. I will tell you. My very quick Root review is get the digital version. The box version is extremely aesthetically pleasing. I
Yes.
cannot deny it is a gorgeous physical, game. However, be honest with yourself and don't lie. I know you're lying. You're not going to get enough friends who are actually going to sit down and learn the rules of Root.
Yeah.
You're not. Don't. No, don't. I know. Don't you say it. Don't
We've
say it.
played my
You
we've
won't.
played my editions exactly once.
Mm-hmm. So, however, if you get the digit, and also you're gonna need to learn the rules. And again, be honest with yourself. You're way too lazy to do that. The rules of Root are kind of convoluted. Um, the digital version solves both of these problems. It has
Yep.
solo modes with challenges. It has an AI that has been upgraded from complete dog shit to probably okay. Uh, so the AI to usable. It has an online mode where you could challenge people, and it has a generally pretty active community. So just get the digital version of Root. Don't waste your money on the physical version. It is very tempting because of how nice the box and the components look, but you won't use it. You know you won't use it, right? Deep down, you feel this in your heart.
I know
You
this
should.
because I'm experiencing it right now, Anthony. I
Yes.
am in Samsara. I am floating around in the wheel of fate with my boxes of root that have only been used once. I
Yes.
am being turned in the turnstile. It's like a dryer in here. There are various demon gods from India laughing at me, encouraging my hate for all that subcontinent.
Yes.
If
With all of that said, and I'm
yes,
sorry to interrupt you as you rant about the Wheel of Fate. With all of that said, the digital version is actually stellar. Like it's a
yes,
great implementation of the game. Um, Visually, it's in its own way almost as good looking. Um,
yeah,
it has a nice little adorable soundtrack. There's a lot of details in the character animations. Uh, and you could get all of the expansions eventually get added as DLC. Unfortunately, you do need to wait a while for them. Like Root just got a brand new expansion that had 3 factions and a new map. It's probably going to be a while before the digital version gets it, but it probably will because it's gotten all of the other ones. So you're not really losing out on anything except for some time, right? Like just get the digital. Digital's great, no complaints, but just get the digital. And that is, I'm done.
that's I'm going for another spin cycle in Samsara.